The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit command center of the Galactic Council station, casting blue light across Frozen's angular features. She leaned forward, her silver eyes narrowing as she studied the data streams flowing across the screen. As the Council's lead intelligence analyst, she had seen countless reports of military engagements, territorial disputes, and diplomatic incidents. But this was different. The Draconian Armada, she whispered, her voice barely audible in the vast chamber. Gone, all 15,000 warships. Finch materialized beside her, his holographic form shimmering as he processed the information through his quantum-linked consciousness. As an artificial intelligence observer assigned to monitor humanity's activities, he had grown accustomed to Earth's peculiarities over the decades, but even he found this development disturbing. Vanished without a trace near Earth's solar system, Finch confirmed, his voice carrying a note of concern that seemed almost human. The last transmission was a distress signal, 14 seconds long, then ... nothing. Frozen pulled up the audio file. Static filled the air, punctuated by screams and the distinctive sound of hull breaches. Then, amid the chaos, a single draconian voice. "They're not what we thought. They're not silence." The Draconian Empire had been the galaxy's most feared military power for 3 centuries. Their armada had conquered 17 star systems, subjugated countless species, and maintained order through overwhelming force. They had decided that Earth, with its primitive technology and fractured nations, would be an easy conquest, a demonstration of power to remind the galaxy of draconian supremacy. They had been catastrophically wrong. Within hours of the Armada's disappearance, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Frozen stood before the assembled representatives, her report prepared, her evidence documented. The council chamber buzzed with hundreds of voices, clicks, chirps, synthesized sounds, and spoken languages translated through universal communicators. "Esteemed representatives," Frozen began, her voice amplified across the chamber. "The Draconian Armada encountered humanity and was completely destroyed. I recommend immediate caution regarding Earth," and laughter erupted from the Zentari delegation. Ambassador Krex, his tentacles writhing with amusement, interrupted her. "By humans." More laughter rippled through the chamber. "Those primitive apes who still use chemical propulsion, who haven't even colonized their own moon permanently." Finch stepped forward, his holographic form gaining solidity through concentrated projection. "The evidence suggests nothing," Councillor Vesh hissed, her reptilian tongue flicking. "Perhaps they fled in disgrace, but destroyed by humans." She joined the mocking laughter. Frozen felt frustration burning in her chest. "You're not listening. The Draconians sent 15,000 ships to intimidate a single planet. Not one returned. Not even a life pod. Not even debris." "Then show us debris," Krex challenged. "Show us wreckage. Show us evidence of this supposed massacre." "That's precisely the point," Finch interjected. "There is no debris. The humans didn't just defeat the Armada, they erased it. Every ship, every crew member, every trace." The laughter gradually died, replaced by uncomfortable silence. But the damage was done. The Council dismissed Frozen's warning, voting to send a diplomatic expedition to Earth to investigate. 23 ships from 12 different species would go, to demand answers from humanity. Frozen watched the vote with growing dread. "They're making a mistake," she told Finch as the Council adjourned. "I know," he replied quietly. "I've studied humanity for 40 years. They single quotes complicated, dangerous in ways the galaxy doesn't understand." "What did the Draconians encounter?" Frozen asked. "What could make an entire armada vanish?" Finch's holographic eyes seemed distant. "Humanity doesn't fight like we do. They don't follow the rules of war we've established. When threatened, they become something else entirely, something primal and terrifying." 3 weeks later, the diplomatic fleet approached Earth. Frozen and Finch monitored from the Council station, watching the telemetry with mounting anxiety. The fleet commander, Admiral Torvik, and prepare for inspection. Earth's response was simple: "Leave our system now." Admiral Torvik laughed, that same dismissive sound that had filled the Council chamber. "Or what? Humans? You'll make us disappear too?" "Yes," came the reply. A single word, spoken with absolute certainty. The diplomatic fleet didn't retreat. Instead, they advanced. Weapons charging, scanners active, ready to teach these primitives a lesson about galactic hierarchy. Frozen watched her screens go dark, one by one. 23 signals, representing 23 ships, extinguished like candles in a hurricane. Unlike the Draconian incident, this time there was footage, fragmented images transmitted before each ship died. Machines, not spacecraft or conventional weapons, but machines unlike anything in galactic records. They moved through space like living things, tearing through shields and hull plating as if they were tissue, paper, self-replicating, learning, adapting, each one a nightmare of human engineering, for destruction and completely autonomous. And behind them, in low Earth orbit, hundreds of platforms bristling with weapons that bent the laws of physics. Kinetic accelerators that made relativistic projectiles look gentle. Energy weapons that didn't just destroy matter but seemed to erase it from existence. And Stranger Things devices whose function Frozen couldn't even begin to understand. The last transmission from Admiral Torvik's ship showed his face, no longer mocking but filled with pure terror. "They built all this," he whispered, "in secret, for decades, just waiting, preparing. They knew we'd come eventually. And the signal died." The Galactic Council chamber was silent when Frozen presented her second report. No laughter this time, no dismissive comments, just fear-cold absolute fear radiating from every representative. "Humanity calls them von Neumann swarms," Frozen explained, her voice steady despite her own terror. "Self-replicating weapons platforms. They've been building them in the asteroid belt for years, using automated factories we assumed were mining operations. The moment the Draconians entered their system with hostile intent, humanity activated them." "How many?" Counselor Vesh asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Finch answered, his holographic form flickering with what might have been apprehension. "Our latest scans suggest millions, and they're still multiplying. Humanity hasn't just prepared for war, they've prepared for total galactic annihilation if threatened." "What do we do?" Ambassador Krex asked, his tentacles hanging limp. Frozen closed her holographic display. "We leave them alone. We establish their solar system as restricted space, and we pray they never decide we're a threat." The vote was unanimous. Earth remained isolated, surrounded by an ever-growing swarm of nightmares, a monument to what happens when humanity, that strange, violent creative species, decides to prepare for war. The Draconian Empire fell into chaos without its armada. The galactic order shifted. And Frozen, late at night in her quarters, would sometimes access the partial recordings from the Draconian flagship. In those final moments before the transmission ended, she heard something that haunted her dreams. Laughter, human laughter, not cruel or malicious, just ... amused, as if humanity had known all along what would happen, as if they had been waiting, watching, preparing for the galaxy to underestimate them. The warning had been clear, the galaxy had mocked it, and in their terror they finally understood. Humanity wasn't trapped in the galaxy with them, they were all trapped in the galaxy with humanity.